Shalom. First and foremost, above all things, I want to give all praises and honor and glory that's definitely due to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakak Radash. Want to give a special double honors to our elders and apostles on down at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. May the blessing of election be upon your household, on you sincere brothers and you few sisters out there that listen and take heed to the doctrine of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And I want to go into the bad behavior of Eve. It's basically being exposed, and Lord willing, I hope and pray that this is edifying. So I was inspired to do this video because, for one of the beloved brothers in the chat, they put up a little bit of that interview of Leslie Jones, and then there was another video I was looking at from another beloved brother that's in the GMS camp. I think it's GMS dedication. But the point is that Eve has exhibited such bad behavior, and she's being called out on, just like Esau's being called out on his bad behavior, and the things that he's been doing behind the scenes. The man of sin is being revealed, which we know the man of sin is Esau, the hammer of the earth. And so getting back to Eve, looking at Leslie Jones, watching her video, and she exhibited masculine behavior. Now I guess they asked her about her personal life, if is she dealing with a man or what have you, is a man dealing with her. And she said that, pretty much basically saying that, she finds it hard to find a man, because and it's really her personality, if that's what, she's a comedian, you know what I'm saying? So, but, most likely she's displaying that masculine behavior because, I guess guys had asked her what she brought to the table, and she said, I am the table. I guess because of her riches and her success, she feels like she's the table. And she said it real masculine, which, it turns a man off. A masculine man does not want to deal with someone that's masculine as well. And a lot of these women are in that spirit of being very masculine, coming from the culture that we're coming from, because we were given laws and statutes. Our women were tender and delicate, and I'm gonna get that. But I watch TV sometimes, watching them old game shows. It's a channel where they show a lot of the old game show network, the old game shows that I grew up on. I'm a 70s baby, so a lot of those shows I remember. And what I noticed about the women, whether they were from the other nations, and even with Eve, who I saw on some of these old game shows, they're very feminine, very tender, very delicate. They exhibited tender, delicate spirit, soft-spoken, which these women, they have that. They don't have that now. I ain't gonna say all of them. I'm not gonna lump them all in that group, but there are a lot more women out there that have a masculine spirit than they do a tender and delicate one. But all this, goes back to, speaking of the Israelites as all this goes back to our to Salaki. All these things go back to the curses, you know. And right now, Eve is the enemy. You know, you got Eve going to Esau, complaining about Jake, wishing that they could do something about it. You know, that all Jake should be gotten rid of. You got even women talking about if they know that they have a boy, they're gonna abort the boy. You know, so it just shows you that Eve has a true hate. Not all Eves, but the majority of these Eves have that true hate, which, you know, all this goes back to the Garden of Eden because of that philosophy that she bought into to basically turn against her man, you know. So without further delay, I'm gonna go into it. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56. The tender, delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. Yeah. So our women were at one time tender and delicate, you know, and which would not set her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Nowadays, you go into the grocery store or Walmart, what have you, and you see a lot of these women, and man, their feet look like they could walk on hard, sharp ass rocks, you know, and not be bothered by it because their bottoms, you know, because their feet are so, you know, they can deal with that. You know what I'm saying? That just the spirit of these women, you know. And so her eyes shall turn evil toward the husband of her bosom. And that's what's going on. You got Eve with the hatred for Jake. You know, don't trust in Jake. And it's to the point to where these women have displayed this bad behavior in social media to the point Jake is like, you know what? I'm not dealing with you no more. You know, I can't defend you. And it was something that even a Jake lady said a long time ago. She's passed on. Her name was Frances Chris Welsing. She said if a black man can't lead his woman, then he don't want to deal with it. He's not going to lead a woman that don't want to follow. So, you know, in turn, a lot of these women, they don't believe in Jake. And so, you know, Jake's like, okay, cool. You know, I don't want to deal with you. You can't lead someone that don't want to lead, won't let you lead, you know, or questions your leadership, you know. And the same thing with Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. We can't be in the spirit of questioning Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. We just go along with what Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai directs us in the spirit to do, because at the end of the day, it's going to pay off, you know. Sometimes you don't understand, you know, but at the end of the day, the Lord is going to reveal to you later on why he did what he did, or why he said what he said, or how he, you know, the spirit moved you a certain way, you know. But getting back to the point, man, you know, a lot of these women are being called out about their bad behavior. And so it's to the point a lot of Jakes are waking up. You got one guy, he was, you know, saying that he don't want to deal with women that have more, you know, got kids, because a lot of times you can take care of these kids even though they're not yours, but when it comes time to punish them for something they done wrong, you know, the mother doesn't want you to touch them. You know, you can give them, you can buy clothes for them, you can do this, that, feed them and all that, but you can't punish them, you know. So Jake don't want to deal with that. You know, Jake, like I say, a lot of Jakes are leaving that stuff alone, man. They don't want to deal with that no more. And you know, your mindset, the things you say on social media have pushed you away because of your bad attitude. You're not approachable. A lot of you women are not in that spirit of being approachable. And then you wonder why Jake don't want to approach you. It's because of your bad behavior, you know? And all of this goes back to Esau, because he's taught you all these things, you know, and he's taught you to be an enemy, you know? So Jake has gotten to the point like, you know, the hell with it. I'll just leave you alone because it's not worth dealing with, you know? And again, it's the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Shai that's waking men up to, you know, Eve's bad behavior, man. It's none of Jake's doing. It's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Shai. So they're recognizing when you got a woman that tells an Edomite that she wants to see black men, so-called black men, you know, unalive, you know, that should tell you right there that that's your enemy, man. You know, that, and it's not all Eves that are in that spirit, you know, but the majority of these women are in that spirit, you know. And then they wonder why they you know, Jake don't want to approach them, you know. Micah 7:10. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy God, Yahweh Shem Yahushai? My eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire in the streets. And women who display masculine behavior, like Leslie Jones, this woman who's saying that, you know, all Jakes should be unalive, which, you know, you're lumping Jakes that are not even in that mindset, that's not degenerative, you know, because you got some decent Jakes out there. Maybe they're not in the truth, but there's some decent Jakes that don't display those bad habits that you've dealt with in your past, you know. And so you're lumping all of them in the same group, and that's not right. Just like it's not fair for us to say that all of Eve are wicked as hell, but some are more wicked than others. We'll say it like that, you know. And those, you know, these women that go to Esau, and, you know, this woman that went to Esau, she's wicked as hell, you know. And it's to a point to where it's gonna be no return, you know. You can't come back, because a lot of these Eves are so far gone when you call them out on it, because a lot of these Eves, they don't want to be corrected, and they'll double down on the stupidity of the things that they say. Like this woman that said what she said, when you say something like that, you're taking away yourself, because you come from the seed of Jacob, you know, and that's the chosen seed, and you're talking against the chosen seed, you know. So that just shows you, like the scriptures say, a foolish woman is clamorous. She's simple, and she knoweth nothing. But see, when you're given liberty in this wicked society that we're coming up in, you get a chance to say all these things. But at the end of the day, you know, those words, you're going to be judged for them, you know, unless you repent. And a lot of these women are not going to repent. They're just going to stay doubled down in their stupidity and their foolishness. And this is why, another reason why this place needs to be destroyed, among many reasons why this place needs to be destroyed, because of this devil Esau. He's causing, you know, this display and bad behavior, man, you know. So again, you know, as the beloved elder Yashawamba always says, man, and the other elders too, earth is in need of new management, man. You know, and only Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to bring a righteous kingdom to where men are going to be men and women are going to go back to what they need to be, tender and delicate and a servant unto a man. So Lord willing, I hope and pray that this is an edifying lesson. Once again, I want to give all praises and honor and glory that's definitely due to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Rakak Radash. Until the next time, Lord willing, I'll say Shalom.